This evening I want to share with you a couple of ways to travel smart when you're visiting a foreign country. First, let me ask you, how many of you speak one or maybe even more languages in addition to English? Okay. So when you're traveling in the country where that language is spoken or those languages are spoken, you can travel smart. Now, I, on the other hand, never learned a foreign language. Mr. Contest Chair, distinguished judges, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. You see, I never had to learn a foreign language because I studied at Mrs. Trombly's School of Linguistic Skills. You may have heard of it. It's very, very famous, and I'm sure you're familiar with some of her techniques. Now, you know what it's like when you travel in a country and you don't speak the language. Especially when you have to use the bathroom, right? So he knows. My mother had a great method for this. You might want to try it yourself. She would smile and say, "Excuse me, where's the bathroom?" We said, "Ma, they don't speak English here." "Oh, silly me, of course. Let me just try it again." She'd take a deep breath and she'd say, "Excuse me, where is the bathroom, please?" And of course, you get the answer right off the bat. It's fantastic. This past summer, my wife Margaret and I visited Quebec City, where they speak French. Now, Margaret speaks terrific French. I will say with a Chicago accent. But nonetheless, she helped us to travel smart in Quebec City. Well, she tells me that I have a terrific accent. I just don't know the language. For example, let me demonstrate my accent. When you want to say your name in French, you just don't say, "Je m'appelle Preston Trombly." No, that doesn't work. You have to feel French. You have to adopt a certain French je ne sais quoi, if you know what I mean. But above all, you have to look French. And then you can say with confidence, "Je m'appelle Preston Trombly." Works every time. I also want to share with you my entire French vocabulary. Don't worry, it won't take very long. Le déchiot, s'il vous plaît. Pardon. Où sont les toilettes? Je voudrais un café. Beyoncé. C'est magnifique. Je n'ai pas les pas français. Le tarte de fromage est formidable. Bonjour, frère Jacques. Frère Jacques, dormez-vous? Ah, dormez-vous. That's it. That's all you need is a few phrases, the accent, and of course the scarf and the beret to help you play the part of somebody who speaks the language so you can travel smart. Now, the first time Margaret and I traveled overseas together was to France. We stayed in the Chateau Valois, which was in Normandy. Beautiful place. Our first day there, first morning there, I decided I'd go into town by myself just to see what was going on in the town and, you know, maybe get a coffee. Of course, I had to put on my scarf because I wanted to play the part, and I wanted to look French, so I put on my beret. And I strolled into the little town of Valois, winding cobblestone streets, and you know those old plaster and wooden timbered buildings. You've seen photographs of those, sure. Beautiful place. And I finally found the cafe. But as I'm walking to the cafe, I realized I'm the only guy wearing a beret. It didn't dawn on me till later that I might as well have had a sign that said, "American tourist." So I walk into the cafe, the only one in town, big sign, Café Tabac. It was kind of late in the morning. There was only one guy there, an older guy, down at the end of the bar, sipping his espresso. And of course, it's France, right? He's got a little dog by his feet. There's only one fellow besides him. He's behind the bar. I'm assuming he's the bartender. So I'd say, "Bonjour, monsieur. Comment allez-vous?" "Oh, très bien, merci. Et vous?" I'm speaking French to the guy, and he's understanding me. We're having a conversation in French, en français. In France, no less. I say, "Oh, très bien. Je m'appelle Preston Trombly." He says, "Oh, bon, je m'appelle Jacques." But he doesn't stop there. "Oh, je m'appelle Jacques. J'ai tabac, des cafés, des paris, balois, au château, les fenêtres, des massards, des patois, au fromage, cheesecake, c'est délicieux. Formidable." What's this guy talking about? See, I don't speak French, but he didn't know that. So I took a breath and I said, "Je voudrais un café, s'il vous plaît." No response. Like I'm speaking a foreign language. So I try again. "Je voudrais un café, s'il vous plaît." He shrugs his shoulders, looks at the old guy down at the end of the bar. Like, wait a minute, I was just speaking French to the guy. What's going on? Maybe it's my accent. That's when the lessons of Mrs. Trombly's School of Language Skills kicked in, and I said, "Pardon, monsieur, je voudrais un café, s'il vous plaît." No response, but the old guy down there looks up and he says, "Hey, Jacques, give the man a coffee. The man wants a coffee." Jacques makes the coffee, puts it on the counter. You won't believe what he said then. "You want cream with that?" So the best thing, of course, is to speak the language in the country you're traveling. But if not, get the accent down, learn a few phrases, and even if you've never met my mother, you'll be able to play the part of someone who speaks the language and travel smart. Well, don't forget the scarf and the beret. Monsieur Contessier.